Let's talk about getting arrested for weed.
It's Black Hoody, I'm back cooking these goodies. Look at these views from cooking these foods. Yeah, fuck with me.
What is going on, everybody? Back with another mukbang video. Happy New Year. Hope everybody had a great New Year's. Got litty, got turned. Didn't get, too fucked up, because I know I did, and I face planted in the bar. Not really that much of a story, just was trying to get off a stool. Couldn't figure it out. Face first, down to the floor. The worst part about it is that when it was happening, it was almost like slow motion. It was like I knew that it was gonna happen, and like I couldn't stop it, and it was just like really quite embarrassing. So today, obviously, we have this pasta, just something I feel to me is pretty like basic ass. Threw it together, and I'll tell you the reason behind that. But let's get into it, because low key, this thing has me choked because it's taken so long to get to this part, and I just feel like it's drying up and dying. And these are the struggles of a mukbang or whatever artist, eating food show guy, person, human being who is weird and eats on camera. These are the struggles of that person. Yeah. So this pasta is hilarious. First off, I was like, I didn't realize that this dish was not going to be able to contain it. And this is like a dome of just fucking an accident waiting to happen, essentially. All right, let's just take a bite. Still so good though, like, cannot lie. So yeah, I got faded as hell on New Year's, and consequently, as well, last night, I went to a bar that was serving until 4 a.m. 4 a.m. last call. It happens in the city. And I'm mildly hungover. Not a super bad one, but definitely feeling the effects. Anyways, there's a global climate crisis going on right now, at least in like Canada and probably like the east of America as well. We're freezing our asses off. It's like minus 30. And I had a whole nother video in mind. Something a little more epic, a little doper. And I just was not going to go outside in minus 30, being a hungover piece of shit. And, I'm pretty poor right now, too, so that's another thing. And I just decided, let's dig in the cabinet, pantry, cupboard, whatever you want to call it, fridge, and see what we can find. And here I am. This is what I came up with. And you know what? Low key, it's fire. Like, I can't even front. The flavors are on point. So what is that you say, Mr. Black Hoodie? You've been arrested for weed, marijuana, ganja, the green? Yes, I have. So when I was about 17, little slurp there, is when it all went down. Let me precursor this by saying I started smoking weed when I was 14. And from that point on, me and my boys were all chronics, if you want to call us that. I just don't like the term pothead. It's just very retro. A lot of young people, I mean, when you start smoking weed and you're in your teens or whatever, and say somebody has a driver's license in a car, it's pretty standard, I'd say, to just, you like at night, you just go ride around and smoke and like just go do stupid shit. So one night, it's me, my buddy, and his cousin. And his cousin's got like this hatchback with like subwoofer, like a system in it, subwoofers and shit. And we are decked out with weed supplies, like papers, pipes, little bongs, rolling devices, like anything for weed. We basically had it in like our kit, our like riding kit. So we just went and picked up like a half ounce of weed. Sorry, I wanted some more weed for my pasta. So we scoop the weed. We go to our local blaze spot, which was this like baseball diamond by a cemetery. Parked there. Because we got like a nice fat sack, we're like, okay, let's blaze up a blunt for sure. So get the blunt paper out, all that shit, roll up a nice sick blunt, smoke said blunt, hotbox the fuck out of my boy's vehicle. Then we have to like, we're going to this a next spot or whatever, so we're like on the highway cruising, and in front of us there's a police officer car, and it's a 2-lane highway. Like we can pass if we want, and the cop's not going very fast. Like he's going below the speed limit, and we were just going the speed limit, and we're like, well, we'll just pass him or whatever. And I just had this feeling, like for sure, a bad feeling, like we're high as fuck in a tinted, blacked out hatchback, just banging the system. Like that's the other thing. My buddy was banging the system as we drove by the guy, and we just cruise past very, very slow, get into the right lane, and I just knew we were gonna get pulled over. It felt too cocky. Immediately after we pass, boom, lights turn on, pull over, officer says all the standard shit at the window, license, registration, but he says the reason I'm pulling you over is because your plate light is out. So this little bulb that's supposed to light up your license plate, and he said that his was out, and we later didn't really check to confirm, but I think it was just like a bullshit thing because he just wanted to pull us over. So we're just fucking pie-eyed at this point. Like we're so baked. Fresh off a fat blunt, and officer goes like, well, why does it smell like weed in your car? Have you guys been smoking weed? Do you have weed? Da da da. And of course, like we're just baked, like trying to get away with this shit. We're like, no, officer, like nothing. Like he clearly knows what's up. And then he's like, I'm gonna have to get you guys to come out of the car, and we're gonna have to search the vehicle, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, when we're this young, I don't know like what's legal or what, but I don't know if you even had grounds to do that. But you know, we're so young and intimidated, and we don't know shit about the law. So no shit about the law. It's good. Power is, or knowledge is power. So as he's pulling us out, he goes, "Okay, boys, this is your time to come clean. Like, is there anything in the car that I'm not going to be happy about finding, weed or otherwise?" And we're like, still sticking to our story, like, no, no, even though we know we're about to get like busted. So pulls us out individually, handcuffs us individually, like seats one in the car, and like questions us individually, and searches us individually as well. And I was the last one to be like searched and questioned. And I remember I had these cargo pants on, and it was so funny because the two right pockets, like on the cargo pant, like those cargo pockets, he searched like everything on me, my shoes, like everything, but he never went in those two pockets, which seemed like the most obvious place. And the funniest part is that I had like a chunk of weed in there, like a 10 piece in that pant, like, and he never looked at it. And like I found it later and was like laughing. But when he like interrogated me, he's like, you know, he's trying to like, you know, he's trying to get information out of me as to like where we obtained the weed. And hilariously enough, like I pulled a random name out of my head, like just to lie. But the funniest part about it is that it turns out that like subconsciously, I guess I said the name of a kid at my school who actually sells weed. So like later on, I told my buddies like what I had said, and they're like, "You said his name?" And I'm like, "Well, who is that?" And they're like, "It's like him. Like he fucking actually sells weed." And I'm like, "Oh shit, that's hilarious." So anyways, they go in the car. We're all three handcuffed in the back of the cop car, thinking we're going to jail. They find everything, obviously. They find, like, you know, at this point, like a quarter of weed, all the, like, the supplies, like, all the paraphernalia, everything comes back to us. He's like, pulls the one guy out of the car. He's like, "You, over here, makes him dump the weed out in, like, a hole on the side of the road and then chuck all of his like paraphernalia and shit into the bush," which is hilarious because that's like essentially littering. So I don't know what I should have charged his ass for that. And then he lets me and my other buddy out and like uncuffs us, and he's like, "Okay, well, since you guys were like, you know, not too much of a hassle, and you know, didn't put up too much of a fight, though you like lied to me," he's like, "You know, this could have gotten a lot worse." He's like, "Just we're gonna let you go with a warning. It's like, you guys should just stop this though. This is stupid. Like, don't be idiots. Like, don't smoke weed. Don't do drugs, etc., etc." And then he just like left us to go on our merry way. Which to me is like, I appreciate it. It's hilarious. It's good. I like it. But like, what's the point of pulling us over and doing all that? Like, if you're not gonna like reap any benefit from it, like, I don't, if he has to hit a quota like for being a cop, like, I just don't get why he'd even do it in the first place. That being said, I feel like a lot of American viewers, I don't know how it goes in the States, but I've heard it's like pretty strict. Like, would you have for sure gone to jail or got charged, or, you know what I mean, something to that effect? Because in Canada, cops are, even back then, that was like a long time ago, like 10 years ago. So even back then, like, with how weed has changed, the legalities about it, cops are like lax about shit like that in Canada. They just like, cops are pretty cool with like just giving you a warning and just like letting you go about your life, and just, if you're not like a chronic offender, but yeah, if it's like your first time offense or whatever, or if it's something like minimal like that, like, they usually don't give a shit. But I've heard it's pretty insane in the States. So anyways, if you have had a situation similar, or you know about shit like that in the States or other countries that it's, you know, more hardcore, let me know in the comments below. This is dead. It was delicious, but it's dead. I'm full. And yeah, that's a wrap. So until the next one, eat good, live well, stay true. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.